But I hope everyone is all good. It is a very gloomy day today in the UK. Like, guys, I feel like we get a bit of sun and then the universe is just like, yep, sorry, you still live in the UK. Here's the rain, here's the grey clouds. But it really makes you grateful for those sunny days because, for example, I was thinking the other day, like when I was in Bali, like when we lived in Bali last year, like it wasn't, to be fair, it did rain quite a lot, I won't lie to you, but when it rains in Bali, like it rains and it pours and then it's back sunny again within like 15 minutes most of the time. I mean, we did have like a week once where it was just non-stop. It was like, right, where's the sun? But majority of the time you don't feel grateful for that sun as much as you do here. So that is one good thing, I guess. Like, you appreciate the sunshine, right, when it comes through. But that's why everyone goes crazy when it's sunny and everyone ends up at Bournemouth Beach, or yeah, they end up in their bikinis when it's still not even warm. But there we go. That's just us for you. Um, but yeah, other than that, I hope everyone is all good. So I'm being consistent, guys. I said that I would record once a week, and we're on the second week, so hopefully we'll keep that up. We will. It's scheduled in my calendar. It's a priority. It's a non-negotiable. It's getting done. So hopefully you're enjoying these podcasts. And like I said, I'm going to be uploading once a week. So love that. Anyway, today's topic, guys, I really want to talk about the reason why you aren't seeing progress, because it's something that I actually conversate a lot with people about this most days, whether it's new clients coming on board, whether it's calls I have with ladies or around their journey, around their goals, whether it's people in the DMs. Like, I just hear this so much, and I think it's such a challenging thing to get our head around because it's kind of like against everything we've all been told. But it's so important for you to actually see results. And that is focusing less on the movement and the external side of things and actually focusing on the foundations first. Now you're probably thinking, like, yeah, okay, I don't know what that means, Ash. Like, what are you talking about? So, for example, right? Say your goal is fat loss. You want to lose weight, right? And this also, by the way, goes for people who are trying to build muscle. It's not just about fat loss. If it's just an overall physical transformation, whatever that may be, it still stands the same. So, say your goal, for example, is fat loss, right? You want to lose some weight and you're like, cool. The first thing you think of, right, is I want to lose weight. I need to work out. I need to work out. Surely I need to work out if I want to lose weight. That's actually the thing that's holding you back. Is it's not workouts that are going to get you there. They are going to help, but the internal foundations need to be focused on first. For example, your nutrition. You could go to the gym. I hate to break it to you because I've had calls of girls who are going to the gym 5 days a week, but they're not focusing on the other things and they're just not seeing results. And I'm like, I'm surprised. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm not surprised. That's not how fat loss works. So, say for example, you want to lose weight, right? You need to be focusing on the foundations. That is nutrition, that is sleep, that is stress reduction, that is your overall hormone health, especially as a woman. And if you don't focus on all of that and your hydration, and if you don't focus on all of that and you just focus on going to the gym, you ain't going to see results. And if you do, they're going to be short lived. Let me just tell you that. Okay. So, yes, the gym is amazing. And yes, workouts, whether it's the gym, whether it's classes you go to, whether it's a home workouts, it doesn't have to just be the gym. But I'm talking about workouts in general. Yes, they are amazing. But if you're trying to see physique results, you have to make sure the foundations are in place first. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Like, simple as that. Like in January when everyone like wants to change their life and the gyms are really busy and everyone goes for a few weeks and then they realize that they can't keep it up because they've got this all or nothing approach and they go to the gym 5 days a week and realize they're not seeing results and they end up at square one. Yeah, that's because you're focusing on the wrong thing, but also you're going full steam ahead, which I do actually have a podcast on. I'm pretty sure I do anyway, on the all or nothing mindset. And if not, then I will create one in the next few weeks because I'm doing this every week now. So all the topics are coming, guys. Okay, let's flip it. So your goal is to build muscle, right? Build muscle. Okay, you do need the gym for that, right? That's one thing I will say. You can't build muscle without going to the gym. You can lose weight without exercise, but you cannot build muscle without exercise. So say your goal is to build muscle, right? You do need the gym for that, or you do need home workouts, you need some sort of movement to build that muscle. But again, right? Say you're going to the gym or you're doing home workouts or whatever, right? You're trying to build muscle, yet you're not focusing on your nutrition. You're not focusing on your sleep. You're not focusing on your over recovery. You're not focusing on your hydration. You won't see results. Simple as that. Like, I'll be honest with you, muscle, especially like muscle mass, yeah, it comes from eating in a calorie surplus. If you're a calorie deficit, you're trying to build muscle, good luck, is all I'm gonna say, because it doesn't work. Like, you can build a little bit, but you can't build proper muscle mass if you are in a calorie deficit. So like, I'll speak to so many girls and I'm trying to build my glute. Cool, what's your nutrition like? Oh, I skip breakfast and I have a coffee and then I have a salad for lunch and then I have dinner. It's like, you're literally just burning through that muscle you're trying to build. Like, you're not, firstly, you're not going to have the energy and strength in the gym to actually perform effectively, to actually like put that stress on that muscle to actually build, recover. Secondly, recovery is going to be all over the place. You're not feeling your body enough, and you're just burning calories and you're burning through muscle. So you're not actually going to see any growth. So like if you're trying to build your glutes, girls, you have to eat. Okay, and that's a good thing. Okay, I'm in a calorie surplus right now. That's amazing. So that is that. Sorry, I was reading my chat. What was I going to say? So the foundations of any physique goal is nutrition, it is sleep, it is stress reduction, because you want to make sure your cortisol levels aren't too high. You know, we want to make sure that everything like internally going on is in a good place before we then start focusing on the gym and external stuff. Because yes, the gym and the external stuff of workouts are going to help towards your goals, but it's not going to help you towards your goals if you don't focus on the foundations first. Okay, so let's dive deep into these foundations and the reason why you could literally be trying to lose weight but not seeing any results. Okay, so say your goal is fat loss. Let's go down that route first, right? Your goal is fat loss and you're trying to lose weight, and like I said, you know, you're going to the gym or you're doing your home workouts, or you feel like you can't lose weight because you don't have time to work out. That's another thing I hear quite a lot as well. Is, well, I want to lose weight but I don't have time. It's like, you don't need time to lose weight. Like, you already eat, sleep, and walk. Those three things, as long as they're tweaked, you're going to see results, right? So it's a massive roadblock for some ladies because they think, oh, like if I want to lose weight, I need time to work out. No, you don't. I have a lot of girls in my team who don't work out, and that sounds crazy coming from a coach. And I'm not, like I said, working out is good for you. I'm not saying don't work out. For some people, like if they can only get one or two home workouts in a week, or they need to focus on foundations first, it can be very overwhelming for their body and for their mindset to then jump into workouts at the same time. We need to take one step at a time. Don't run before you can walk, because that's when you're going to have that all or nothing mindset and fall flat on your face. Okay, so what you need to focus on, say your goal is fat loss, the first thing you want to focus on is nutrition. That is the biggest thing. Fat loss comes from a calorie deficit. It doesn't come from anything else. It comes from a calorie deficit. So you could be going to your PT session, or you could be going to the gym a few days a week, or going to your classes. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you won't see fat loss. It is simple as that. You can burn all the calories you want in the workout, but you ain't going to see fat loss if you're not in a calorie deficit when you get home. Okay, so we need to firstly make sure we're in a calorie deficit. Okay, now there's a few things around it I want to touch on. So you might think, all right, cool, I'll just eat less. It doesn't quite work that way, because if you are in too much of a calorie deficit, yes, you're going to see fat loss. Like, that's just the science of it. But you are at chance of slowing down your metabolism, which means that you need to be even more of a deficit for your body to keep responding the way you want it to. That's not sustainable. That's going to lead to binge eating. That's going to lead to having an unhealthy relationship with food and you feeling like you can't take anything. And that is why a lot of people, when they do diets and things like that, they end up restricting themselves so much. They lose loads of weight and then they end up piling it back on because they've slowed down their metabolism, but also it's not sustainable. You can't not eat the food you want to eat. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, life is to be enjoyed, food is to be enjoyed, right? So yes, a calorie deficit is needed, but it needs to be a sustainable one. Okay, it can't be 1,200 calories, girl. Okay, I hear this all the time. I'm eating 1,200 calories. I'm not seeing any results. I'm not surprised, because you're probably not actually eating 1,200 calories on a day-to-day basis. You're probably doing that 3 days a week. Then you have something at work that takes you over calories. You press the fuck it button, you're back at square one. So it's about overall finding a calorie deficit that works for your body and that actually works with your goals instead of against your goals. Does that make sense? So I would definitely highly recommend getting a professional to work your calories for you, to put you in a slight deficit, which is going to be in a good range for you still to be satiated and not feel absolutely starving and then end up like going back to square one again, because that's just going to keep you in this failure mindset and stop starting all the time. Or maybe then you lead to going into like punishment mode where you end up doing as a cardio just to try and counteract the calories you ate that evening. It's like, it doesn't work like that. We need to find something that's consistent and sustainable. So get a coach to work out your calories. Try and not use like websites online, because they're just not accurate. That's the first thing. Okay, so if that's in check, that's all you need to focus on for the first 2 weeks and you will see results. Okay, secondly, and in regards to that as well, making sure that you actually enjoy your food. Like, if you're just eating salad all day long and skipping meals, firstly, like I said, you're going to be slowing down your metabolism and you're not actually going to be able to stick to it. But also, if you don't enjoy the food you're eating and you're just kind of eating because you think you should eat these foods, or you're cutting things out, you're not going to enjoy the process, which, guess what, means you're not going to be consistent with it. So again, making sure you enjoy your meals and you're sticking to a good amount of calories where you're in a calorie deficit, but you're also nice satiated. You don't feel like you're having those cravings. Come on, you don't feel like you don't raid the cupboard in the evening, things like that, because that's what's setting you back. Okay. That's the first thing. Secondly, I'm going to talk about sleep because I talk about this all the time, especially on my Instagram, but sleep is so important. If you are lacking in sleep, the scales will go up. Why? Because your body is not recovered properly. You're going to hold water. Okay. So I hear all the time the scales gone up. Yeah, where was your sleep? Oh, it was shocking. Well, I'm not surprised. Like you might be like, what? Like the scales measure your entire weight. It measures your water retention. It measures your body fat. It measures your muscle mass. It doesn't. I think sometimes we step on the scale, and if the weight goes up, we're like, oh my goodness, that means I've just put on 5 kg worth of body fat. Like no, like it's measuring you as a person, right? So if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to hold water. And therefore, the weight is going to go up on the scales. It's not body fat. It's impossible for it to be body fat unless you're in a calorie surplus. But it will be water retention, which, again, if you're training and you're trying to see like fitness results, then like your body won't recover as well as if you don't get a good amount of sleep. And your body needs to function effectively. So, making sure that everything's in an optimal place to actually burn fat effectively and actually like do everything you're doing, making sure it works properly with your body and again, not against it. We need to make sure sleep is big focus. Okay. Another thing that I want to touch on then is hydration. Again, if you don't drink enough water, guys, I was going to say gals and guys at the same time. If you don't drink enough water, you will hold water. That means when you stand on the scales will go up. And this is another thing I hear all the time. I don't drink enough water, the scales are going up. I'm not surprised. You need to make sure that you are drinking enough water and staying hydrated. So, that's another thing, making sure you're staying hydrated. Again, it's going to reduce fatigue. It's going to make sure that your body is in an optimal place to work out, things like that. Okay. It's going to help digestion, all that good stuff as well. So, drinking enough water is another foundation that needs to be put in place before we then jump into exercise. Um, Another thing then is steps. Okay, so steps is basically non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically like just your general day-to-day movement. Okay, so like moving like day to day, like when you park your car further away from the shop, things like that, when you walk downstairs to go and get a coffee. Like also you can purposely go for a walk and get your steps in, but we can actually get our steps in quite like easily if we don't really need to think about it. So depending on your job, obviously. So yeah, like steps are super important as well. Why? Because they are low impact on your body, but they help burn some calories, right? And also they're just good for your mental health. To get outside, get some fresh air, move your body. It's good for your body, right? It's also really good for digestion and things like that as well. So I would firstly be taking a step towards steps before we jump into workouts. Okay. What have I covered? Stress, sleep, nutrition, hydration. Yeah, that's everything at the top of my head. I'm probably going to think of something else in a second, but there are like multiple things. Overall hormone health is another thing as well, like making sure that your stress. Did I talk about stress? Maybe I didn't. Stress is super important, okay? If you're super stressed, you're going to hold water on the scales because your cortisol levels will be higher. Okay, so we need to make sure that I spoke about stress, maybe I'm repeating myself, but basically we can't stop stress, right? Stress happens, unfortunately, it's just life. And actually stress is a good thing sometimes. It's not always a bad thing. And like even training is a stress on the body, but it's a good stress on the body, right? So it's not always a bad thing. But with stress, we need to make sure that we are pouring into our own cup. Like, where's your morning routine at? Where's your bedtime routine at? Are you slowing your mind down? Are you doing breath work? Are you doing meditation? Are you doing yoga? Are you just like pouring into everyone else's cup but not yours? Are you draining yourself? Are you burnt out at the end of the day? You don't have energy to like prep your meals or look after yourself. Again, if you're burnt out at the end of the day, you're probably not going to have a good bedtime routine, which is then going to lead to having a bad night's sleep. Like everything works hand in hand. And if you don't get enough sleep, like I said, the scales will go up. Again, it's not body fat, it's just stress, water retention, but it's just about being mindful of those things as well. So they are the foundations that we need to have in place first before we start jumping into the gym and things like that. Because if that's not in place, and then we're jumping into the gym as well, our body's just dealing with all this like stress and it's not going to respond as well. So, in order for your body to respond as well as we need it to, those things need to be focused on first. So, if it was me and I was starting my fitness journey again, because I didn't know this when I first started and I just straight into the gym myself, I would make sure that all of those things were in check first for the first 2 weeks, and then I would go into workouts and things like that. If you feel like you can smoothly handle all of that and workouts, amazing. But please don't focus on workouts and everything else be a mess. And it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have nights where you have crap sleep. You're going to have days where you don't get your water taken. You're going to have days where you don't get your steps in. That's okay. You're not a robot. You're a human, right? Even us coaches, there are days where we don't get some things in. It's okay, right? I'm talking consistently, like consistency over time, right? And aim for progress, perfection. So if you feel like you can get a good night's sleep and your morning routine's in a good place and your stress is in a good place and everything's in a nice spot and your nutrition's where it needs to be, and you feel like you can handle all of that, then that's when I would say start adding workouts in. But if everything's a mess and then you want to add workouts on top, girl, no wonder you keep stop starting. No wonder you can't see results. Like I said, fat loss doesn't come from workouts, it comes from nutrition. Also, all those other things will play, like they're variables that will play a part in that, in regards to how your body's going to respond, in regards to water retention, things like that as well. Okay. So in regards to muscle mass, it's the same thing. If you're trying to build muscle, those things need to be in check first for recovery, to make sure your muscle can actually grow, to make sure you're actually eating enough food and you're fueling your body. So instead of being in a calorie deficit, are you eating enough? Are you calorie maintenance, at least maintenance, if not a surplus? We need to push into a surplus over time. So all these things really matter, and it's not always about the scales, because, like I said, you can stand on scales. If you're not in a calorie surplus, if and the scales go up, there's a variable there. Check your variables. Where's your sleep? Where's your hydration? Where's your stress? Where's your nutrition been? Did you track everything this week, or was there a few little sneaky chocolate bars? It all adds up. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, because I feel like it's something that I talk about quite a lot with clients. I talk about quite a lot with like potential clients and people that I talk to on Instagram calls and things like that. And it's something that I hear quite a lot, and like something that isn't educated to us. That doesn't make any sense. Isn't We're not educated on it enough, right? And that's why you're probably not being able to see results, because you're focusing on workouts over than the foundations. So if you do anything this week and your goal is to lose a bit of weight or your goal is to build some muscle, please focus on that. And trust me, you'll see all the difference. Start fueling your body correctly. Stop restricting yourself. Start having a healthy balance with everything, and start looking after your own mindset and your body by getting a good night's sleep, by having a good morning routine, pouring into your own cup, doing some breath work, like really making sure that your cortisol levels are low and making sure everything's in a good place, and your body will respond 10 times better, I promise you. So I hope that's helped. Any questions or anything, you can always pop me a message on Instagram at acfitcoaching. And I will speak to you guys. Well, I won't speak to you guys, but you will hear my voice in my next podcast.